what's your statement on intellectual property? Should it be protected by law?
I've written on this a little bit, and then I asked my good friend Stefan Kinsella to work these ideas out, and he has written a very important article against intellectual property rights that appeared a number of years ago in the Journal of Libertarian Studies. And the short answer is there is no such thing as intellectual property rights. Property rights can only exist in things that are scarce. Only with scarce things, conflicts can arise. But once an idea has been thought, it can be rethought by other people. By thinking the same thing that you think, or you thinking the same thing that I think, you don't take anything away from me. You do not diminish in any way the supply of goods that are available to me. It's just like a recipe. Mises has this statement too, somewhere in Human Action, where he points out ideas, recipes, how I bake a cake, how I grill a steak. Those are things that are, once they have been thought, once they have been made public, are no longer scarce, and because of this, no property right exists in them. Insofar, there exist, of course, many firms and many people who have become enormously rich as a result of the violation of property rights, because they have used the patent law in order to prohibit other people from doing with their own property what they want to do. That is, these other people have done them no harm. No physical damage has occurred in any way to the property of others. But what these people do, Bill Gates and all of these people, what they do is they prohibit me from using my own head and my own resources and building something on my own without, every time I do it, paying them some royalty for it. So intellectual property rights, I think, are actually a crime. Should be abolished instantly.
I think we can afford just one last question.
May I add just a little comment that there is this fellow Austrian economist Fritz Machlup, who wrote an extensive paper describing this great debate about the nature of intellectual property, which has been going on since the late 19th century. And there is one interesting historical observation that the movement in favor of competition, that is against intellectual property, actually went hand in hand with the movement for free trade. And we see a success of free trade movement in the mid-19th century, and Machlup describes the failure of this pro-competition movement at about the turn of the century. So it's a very fascinating topic, something which is nice to write PhD thesis on, to see what are the details of this big issue.
Yeah.
Also, another short comment, but of course it should be clear that on the free market you must be able to keep secret your idea. So if you manage to encapsulate your new technology of producing a good in such a way that other people cannot discover how you produce it, this should be perfectly legal. And this should be the only actually admitted protection of ideas on the market. Keep them secret. If you think that it is valuable for you to keep it secret, that you did find such a way, then it should be allowed.
Okay, we have time for one quick last question.